Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome to another Red Room review. Not Wretched Country, but the Reds, Blood and Dust. I'm going to read the back blurb before I go into it. Inspired by both the raw, lawless world depicted in spaghetti westerns and the more traditional American films of the genre, Blood and Dust allows players to immerse themselves in the roles of characters roving the expansive plains and the lawless towns of the Old West. While the great American cowboy tales notoriously hold a special place, we've taken our cues mostly from the European take on the genre, populated with a cast of roughened rogues and desperate outcasts. I'm surprised you didn't say desperados, but right across barren plains, isolated settlements, and dying boom towns as gunslingers, drifters, bounty hunters, former soldiers, gamblers, or lawmen hunt fugitives for coin, defend homesteads from raiders, settle on old grudges at gunpoint, or cling to your principles in a country that punishes weakness and rewards resilience. As you guys know, I was a big fan of this one, Wretched Country, and there's a few things I like about this better, but that's mostly in production quality and value. The slicker cover, I'm pretty sure this is from Lulu. I'm going to admit I do kind of like some of the AI art better, but that's because I can feel that there was some of your own ideas thrust into the artwork, whereas the new book is mostly, I'm guessing, stock art, things that are in the public domain. Let's double check real quick. However, stock art license from Free Pick, some artwork copyright 2014, Steve Miller, no relation, used under license copyright 2026, cover art Kiyosaki, interior art Warp Plots, Chris Villarosa, Rob Nebercon, and public domain. I was correct. All the art in here is fine. It's actually very, very cool. What looks like a lot of pulp magazine covers and things like that. And there's a crap ton of it. There's actually a lot of semi-modern looking Western horror, but things like this I just love. It looks like one of the old pulp Western covers, and I hope that is how far back some of this stuff goes. There's obviously a lot of newer stuff, I can tell. Rob's work in here, but it's chock full of good old-fashioned, not just comic book art, but like I said, pulp magazine cover art. There was another one that I really liked in here. Let me see if I can get to it. Find it. It's toward, yeah, this one. Where the cowboys hiding on the train. But let's get into the actual gameplay. For the most part, it's very, very close to the original Wretched Country, but with a few new bells and whistles and a few things expanded upon. For the most part, all the rules are everything you expect from a Red Room game. 6 stats down the line, or the usual 6 stats. The introduction was very nice. Once again, showing Miguel's deep, abiding love for the genre, but also sharing with us his take on the spaghetti westerns and the Euro westerns, things most of us probably have never seen, but maybe not. I don't know. It depends on your appreciation for this particular genre of RPGs. But you got, your 3 to 18 stats, your archetypes that give you skills, and sometimes a little bit of extra hit points, which is your health score, or your endurance score, or your con score, whichever. Anyways, and you get that plus maybe a D6, a D4, and that's your hit points. And a 6-shooter bullet does a D6, so maybe you can take a couple of bullets before you're going down, but for the most part, it's a lot more realistic, and it's a lot simpler than games like Boot Hill. Figuring out combat in Boot Hill could take you, 10 minutes to figure out what your roll to hit is if you made the roll. Here it's a D20 plus your stat bonus, plus your skill level, plus possible situation modifiers, and you can write all that down and make it quick. It covers hand-to-hand combat, unarmed, fisticuffs, gunplay, everything you could possibly want, with the exception of, maybe masked battles, which you can take that from any of the other games. The list of perks, you grab one, and you can take more by taking drawbacks, which, pretty standard if you've played any of their games before. The passive sin and virtue, pretty standard stuff. Your scaling alignment, whether you're going toward evil or good kind of thing. But then it gets into more Western stuff, wanted posters and bounties, how you handle that, how you set up a posse, what your reputation score is and how it affects gameplay. Common gear through the acquisition rolls, or you can go into the currency conversion rules, which only took him like 3 pages to do the same thing. For those of you who like the idea of knowing how many dollars are in your pocket and what things cost and that sort of thing. Experience and progress, you get a couple XPs per session depending on the things you do, and the usual price for skills, starting at 12 XP for first level, all the way up to 200 for level 5, 100 points XP. You can buy a stat, you can buy off your drawbacks, buy other perks, things like that. Then everything you want to know about combat, fear, panic. Then we start getting into where you can take your game into the next dimension, almost literally, if you want to go the Weird West route, which while it was done in the other book, it's done here, and it's a little bit more in depth when it comes to all the things, like if your shaman character wants to do a ritual, it's more defined, and you have different ways of getting bonuses to make those difficult difficulty rolls. However, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of a sort of a preacher man kind of thing. A lot of Westerns, especially here in the States, have a lot of bad guys turned preacher. They turn to the Lord, if you will, and I would have liked to have seen a little bit of that. But I'm sure you can kind of make that crap up if one of your players says, I want to be an ex-lawman or an outlaw, turn to God, trying to make up for his previous transgressions, and then hell comes riding into town, right? But then he also added weird science, in case you wanted to go the route of Wild Wild West, and simple rules to be that weird sort of scientist character if you wanted to do that, or maybe have one as an NPC. It's all quickly summed up again in about 3 pages, maybe 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, and you got your Wild West super scientist. Cool. Then you got your basic adversaries, and then you've got your supernatural beings with a lot of the things you'd expect to see, ghost riders and cursed gunslingers and the big owl and the stiff-legged bears, skinwalkers, prairie devils, Wendigo, of course, all that cool stuff. And you know, a lot of work gone into if you want to play a Native American character, which, you know, Boot Hill and a lot of other Western games just didn't really even touch upon. And I know there's a lot of my friends out there that would probably love to play that kind of character. Then you get a timeline of the Old West and the Hellstone town setting with, mind you, the rest of the book from page 133 to probably about 230. So 100 pages of setting. Excuse me, my hair, the fan is just driving me crazy, like one little hair is getting in my face. But the NPCs, the town itself, all the little things going on, as well as a whole bunch. There's even a Hellstone map. I didn't see that the first time flipping through this. The main cast, all the good guys, the bad guys, the you know, damsels in distress, all that sort of thing, as well as I want to say about a half a dozen scenario ideas. Some taken from the big screen and the small screen. Some taken from some pulp magazines, I'm guessing, or comic books. Then an encounter mechanic using a deck of cards, because who doesn't want to incorporate, you know, poker to your game, using the cards as you know, randomly drawn encounters, both you know, like the tarot cards, where, you know, where if it's upside down it means one thing, and if it's right side up it means another. Sometimes it's an encounter with a person, sometimes it's an event, which gives you, you know, 104 different possibilities, and you can easily switch them up. A lot of them are keyed specifically for the town in the book, but you can again easily just make that stuff up and change it. And then random generators takes up a good chunk for you know, all the things you might need to randomly roll up, from the adventure generator elements to NPCs, rumor generators, loot generators, just a crap ton of random tables for all the things that you might need to roll up on the fly. And then I believe at the end, there's a really, like, sort of a larger, not a campaign, but like what seems to be kind of like a nice multi-session, you know, 5 or 6 session adventure. And then at the back, but this, I love this because I mean, it's totally appropriate. But your character sheet is literally a wanted poster with two sides to it, and an extra in there, then an index in the back, and that pretty much sums it up. I'm actually going to get several extra copies of this, Miguel and Sylvia, because I know a couple of guys who really dig Boot Hill, but I think for them and myself, this would be far more fun to run, far more interesting, far more to work with. You know, you don't get the really good skill system until Boot Hill 3rd edition, and even then, you know, in total, you know, rules, mechanics, and all that stuff is maybe 50, 60, 80 pages. And even if you added all the stuff from the modules, and I have all, I think there's 6 or 8 of the Boot Hill modules, you don't get as much as you do in this book. It's on Amazon. I got it. Full disclosure, they sent it to me. I was going to buy it, but they just said, hey, you know, we want you to check out this version. And it took a little while longer to get than usual, but normally I get a book like this from Amazon in like 3 days. Order it, process, mail, and it's at my doorstep. And I'm going to do that again because, like I said, this game looks like a lot of fun. There's a whole lot of different ways you can play the Old West, and, you know, straight, you know, just good old-fashioned West. You've got your traditional American Western style. You've got your Euro Western, spaghetti Western, Weird West, and then you could throw in your Wild Wild West if you want the super science stuff going on. Or you could, you know, try and mix it all up into one good system. And there's none of that nonsense of the dark stone or the super magic that to me really was just a little too much and too over the top for me in Deadlands. It's one of the reasons I didn't play it, even though I love Shadows of Brimstone. Shadows of Brimstone's a board game, a tabletop dungeon crawl, so the magic items and things like that are, you know, it works. Here, though, you can get a grittier, more down-to-earth, more lethal system that makes sense without a whole lot of hand-waving. You know, you're going to make up characters, and you can make up a character in literally like 5 minutes. Once you get the archetypes down, you figure it out, you just copy what's there. You got a couple of possessions, and you're ready to start rolling some dice, getting into the first showdown you can. But that's what I've got for you guys this morning. I'll have some more stuff for you later as I step in it. But of course, I will be back in about 45 minutes with Second Breakfast. Had a great couple of Second Breakfasts lately, and the Saturday show was great. And I will have also, I will be announcing the winner for the Craft Challenge in a special video later. Maybe I'll do that for Wednesday morning. Maybe I'll give you 2 for Wednesday morning. But that's what I've got for you guys today. Go out and grab this book. You'll love it. If you love Westerns, this will be the last one you'll ever need. Until then, folks, love you guys. And as always, happy trails.